Governor Jerry Brown has declared the entire state a sanctuary state, meaning that local police will not cooperate with ICE and will release criminal illegal aliens back onto the streets. But the mayor of Los Alamitos, California, Troy Edgar, is saying no mas. The mayor says if the governor won't protect the citizens, I will. He joins me now. Along with the mayor of Hartford, Connecticut, Luke Bronin. Hartford is a sanctuary city, and Luke is exploring running for governor of Connecticut, which is basically a sanctuary state. All right, I'm going to start with Luke. I like Hartford. I went to school there, but you cannot believe it's safer to not cooperate with federal immigration officials.
Well, look, first of all, let's start with the fact that Donald Trump lies about what sanctuary cities are and what's happening in them. And he lies because playing to people's fears and prejudices.
How did he lie?
Dividing us against along race lines is how he got elected.
Well, how did he lie?
He lies because he creates this perception that there is some crime wave that's driven by undocumented immigrants, and it's just not true.
Well, sanctuary cities are a little more dangerous than non-sanctuary cities.
Actually, according
to a study in California.
Yeah, that's just not the case.
Well, I mean, I have the study right here.
Cities across the country,
I have the study right here.
I have seen crimes
University of Irvine.
Year after year. We're sitting in the largest sanctuary city in the country, which is at historic lows right now when it comes to crime.
I mean, your city, Hartford, I mean, crime's going up there under your tutelage,
actually,
by the way.
Violent crime as a whole has been going down.
Murder and rape are up.
High murders that are consistent with trends for a long time. But I would love to have a conversation with you and with the president, if he's watching, about what would actually make cities and communities like mine safer.
Well,
I
mean, I think that's a different discussion.
By sanctuary
that's
cities.
A different discussion. And let me just interrupt. There is fear because of the crime. Now, let me get to you out there in California. You've taken a big stand out there against your governor. Have you noticed any pushback from the state, which is very, very liberal?
No, you know what? At this point, our city is absolutely behind us. I said, you know, the whole process that we've been able to go through. You know, I feel like sometimes in my little city, we sit back and we're just looking up at Sacramento and just cannot understand what the heck they're thinking.
So you guys have said we are going to cooperate with ICE, and if someone is arrested, we're going to maybe run their ID, and if they have a warrant out, we're going to communicate with ICE, and if ICE wants to pick them up, they have an outstanding felony or misdemeanor, you're going to cooperate. I don't understand what's wrong with that. Can you explain it to the mayor of Hartford?
Well, I think there's two parts of it. I don't know what's wrong with it, and I also, you know, the mayor of Hartford, it's an honor to meet you, but, you know, you and I are both U.S. Navy veterans, and we both swore an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States. We took that same oath when we came to be the mayor and city council member, and, you know, the sanctuary law directly conflicts, at least within California, directly conflicts with our obligation. And, you know, from being on the council, I don't see how you can compel yourself to actually follow the law.
Go ahead.
Look, I think you're misreading the Constitution. The Constitution does not allow the federal government to commandeer local law enforcement to do their job. There's only one mayor between us that is consciously violating a law, and that's your ordinance violating California state law. But look, the bigger issue is this. You said yourself, Mayor, that you're not responding to any real problem. There is no crime problem driven by undocumented immigrants in your community. That's what you have said. Your police didn't call for this, and police chiefs all across the country have said that the approach that we take is actually the right one to create stronger, safer communities.
Can I just get in there for a second, Mayor? According to the National Sheriff's Association, they're against sanctuary cities. They want sanctuary cities defunded. So to say that police are behind you is just not true.
Police Chiefs Association nationally and all of the major police chiefs in the cities around the country, almost all of which are sanctuary cities, take a different view, which is that
because the sheriffs,
making sure
which are in charge of the county and deal with federal officials and are in charge of public safety and outrank police chiefs, they're saying something completely different.
That's completely different state by state, so that's not an accurate thing to say. But there's a strong view.
Do you nominate your own police chief?
I do.
Okay, so he probably agrees with you, right?
Well, he does agree with me,
okay.
But I respect
well, I mean, that's
his view.
why then.
But I respect his view, and he had that view long before I became mayor. Look, what police chiefs around the country have said is that it undermines our police if they have to become the tip of the spear for ICE immigration. It makes
How does it undermine them?
Because it makes residents less willing to let them know if they've been a victim of a crime. You've seen in places like LA, since Donald Trump became president, reporting of crimes has gone down.
I'm gonna interrupt there because that's not true. We just had a sheriff on from Suffolk County out in my neck of the woods in Long Island who said that statement that you just said on the air about people not coming forward is false. Let's hear what he had to say. If you're an illegal alien and you call the police to snitch on an MS-13 gang member, do they deport you for snitching?
No, that's a false narrative that's been going on here in the United States for years. Law enforcement, especially here in Suffolk County, does not do that to victims of crime. And we get a lot of cooperation from the immigrant community. They report crimes all the time against themselves and neighbors. And we are not a sanctuary city. We have ICE officers that work in our correctional facilities, and we communicate and share intelligence with ICE. It's something we should be doing.
So, May, are you saying that this sheriff is not telling the truth?
I'm telling you that here's why he's wrong. That the fact that they don't deport somebody for sharing information doesn't mean that people are less willing to share, aren't less willing to share information.
Well, he says they are willing, and he's out there on the front lines every day.
But what we're seeing, and what many communities around the country since Donald Trump has taken office are seeing, is that immigrant communities are less willing to share information, to build relationships, and it hurts our police department's efforts to do their job. Look,
okay, Troy, let's get you in here. How would you respond to that? Do you feel the same way out there in Los Alamitos?
No, absolutely not. I think we should 100% be coordinating and contributing to help out federal agents. You know, I'm sure that this mayor definitely has different types of issues. You know, there's small cities and big cities, so, I want to be rational and reasonable. But, the reality is, it goes back to the Constitution. Who do you think should enforce all of the immigration laws, and who should we be working with? The state of California. I think we need to remember who voted for us, who put us in office. In my city, I overwhelmingly hear people just very frustrated, the residents, the voting residents of the city, and legal immigrants. I'm getting an outpouring from legal immigrants that just, again, that a lot of them that waited their turn, came in here, unbelievable production within our community, and they don't understand why we want to safe harbor anybody like this.
A lot of the victims of crimes by criminal illegal aliens happen to be Hispanic Americans or other law-abiding legal immigrants.
Which is why you don't want to make them more afraid to report crimes. Look, here's the basic lie that's underlying what President Trump says and what you say often on your show. There is no wave
I'm glad
of crime
you watch, but I haven't lied at all.
By undocumented immigrants. It's just, if we actually want to talk about public safety, let's talk about opioid treatment. Let's talk about investing in workforce development. And God forbid, let's talk about common sense gun laws, which the president knew was the right thing to do.
Let's stay on the topic.
Before he got frightened by the NRA.
There was an ICE raid, a big sweep over a 4-year span, and they, I think in New England, picked up about almost 400 illegal aliens. And they reoffended at a 30% rate. So to say that there's not an illegal alien crime problem is just not accurate, Mayor.
No, what ICE is doing in the state of Connecticut and in my community right now is targeting families that have no criminal history, that are hardworking, tax-paying, contributing members of our community.
Is that really what they're doing?
That is what they're doing.
They're not arresting criminal illegal aliens. They're literally going into homes and breaking up mothers and daughters. Is that really what you're saying?
That is exactly what I'm saying, and I'd be happy to spend a lot of time with you and go through case by case, because week after week we have cases in which ICE is targeting for deportation individuals with no criminal record and individuals who have been contributing members of our community. Many times, by the way, the parents of American citizens.
I want the bad hombres out. I'm not saying it's time to break up families, but if you got to commit the crime, you got to do the crime. Mayor, out there in Los Alamitos, I will give you the last word. Are you considered a brave guy in your neck of the woods, or is this a suicide mission in California?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm getting more of an outpouring. I think I'm increasing my property value. I think that I'm bringing sanity to Southern California, hopefully across the state. And I would just ask that all the mayors and city council members across California stand up for the people that voted for you. And, back to the mayor, when you said that you're hearing all this stuff with ICE, how are you hearing this if you're not cooperating with them?
because they are actively deporting residents in our community. And let me be very clear, every sanctuary city that I know of, including my own, cooperates when we're working to take violent criminals off the street. But we're not going to let our police force be commandeered by the federal government to target families that aren't posing any threat to anyone. And that's what's happening right now. And that's something that President Trump has encouraged.
Well, they are posing a threat because I have a whole list of crimes committed by illegal aliens in Connecticut: rape, child rape, assault, narcotics trafficking. So to ignore that fact, Mayor, I think is irresponsible. But you know what? We disagree. I think you're misguided, but you're a patriot because I love Hartford and I love Connecticut. And thank you very much. And Edgar, nice job out there, and keep fighting the good fight. Up next, the White House will join us. Stay tuned.